Hello, good evening, and welcome to Prime Sport here on the Joy News channel with me, Owuraku Ampofo. Our former Asante Kotoko CEO Herbert Mensah wants the Ghana Premier League champions to focus on reclaiming lost glory in CAF inter-club competitions that they would participate in next season. Now, Asante Kotoko are yet to win a continental silverware since 1983.
From last season to this season, there's been a clear out, a movement of players, a movement of coaches, a movement of all sorts of things. In order to become great, you have to change. You have to move with the times. You have to prepare for the future. And this is just the first step. Now, Kotoko needs to consolidate. It has to look at Africa. It has to decide whether these great players who've achieved so much, and I say, congratulations once again. You have to be able to look into the future to be able to judge the present. And if you can do that, you can see the direction is right. And as an administrator, it's not necessarily about winning today. It's about whether in 2, 3, 4 years' time, the standard of Kumasi Asante Kotoko would have been established, strong enough, mighty enough to go back to be challenging the best in Africa.
Now, the Ghana Athletics Association has made public a list of athletes who will be representing the country at this year's Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. 14 athletes will be competing in 7 disciplines. Let's take a look at the list. So Benjamin Kweku Azamati, who will be coming to much later on in this bulletin concerning his Diamond League race in Norway, is on the list and will be participating in the 100-meter, 200-meter, and then 4x100 relay. His colleague Joseph Paul Amwa would also be participating for the same disciplines. Sean Safwentry would be in for the 100 and 4x100 relay, but not the 200. And then Isaac Bocho goes in for the 4x100 relay. There's also Barnabas Age, who is also for the 4x100 relay. Alex Amankwa would be in for the 800 meters. For the women, Mary Boache would be in the team for the 4x100 relay. And then we have Latifa Ali, also for the 4x100 relay. Halutier Ho also is 4x100 relay. We have Gifty Oku Kwachewa completing the 4x100 relay team for the women. There will be Deborah Aqua doing the long jump and 4x100 relay. And Abigail Kwating for high jump. Rose Amuniwa Yeboah for high jump. She recently won gold in the African Open Championships in Mauritius. And then Martha Bisa, quite dramatic, she makes a return to the national team and she would be racing in the 1,500 meters and 800 meters. For the coaches and officials is Andrew Owusu, Christopher Dako Amankra, and then Bawa Fuseni. We'll come back to athletics and talk about Benjamin Azamati, but let's do football, where all is set for the 2022 World Cup after Costa Rica completed a 32-nation list of countries for the Mundial slated for November later this year. Joy Sports editor, who has been in Doha for the last 5 days, that's Gary Al Smith, says that the country is ready to host the rest of the world in November.
They are ready. Just like with any other World Cup or most other World Cups that we know, Nathaniel, there are just a few, bolts and nuts to tie up, get into the end of the tournament. But apart from that, most of the facilities, like the facility that we went to, it's 100% ready. Most of them have actually been tested already, Nathaniel, in the Arab Cup, in the Asian Games, in the FIFA Club, World Cup, and so on. And you remember they had the Doha 2019 games as well, the Athletics Championships, where some of the same stadia were used also. And in terms of the hotels, today we were shown some of the bookings and the lodgings that fans can be expecting. So this is the first time that I had seen, and you get a lot of people asking you, Nathaniel, how can we get to Qatar and what are the accommodation arrangements? Well, today we're finally able to find out that the cheapest hotel, that is, whether it's 2-bedroom apartment all the way to the 4 or 5-bedroom apartment, will be $80. So $80 will be the cheapest, all the way to whichever likes to be. And so there are different categories of accommodation. So, they have the apartments, they have the suites if you want. There will be tents in the desert for those who want that experience. There will be cruise ships as well, Nathaniel. So on the Arabian coast, there will be ships that will be docking there and they'll be acting as hotels. Then there'll be shuttles from the ships that will bring you into town to come and watch the matches, and then you go and sleep back on the ship again. So it's going to be a World Cup unlike any other for one reason. Different tournaments, even when we hosted the AFCON in Ghana, we had 4 venues. That was Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, and Takoradi. This World Cup will literally be in one place. So this is the first time in the history of the World Cup that, Nathaniel, if you come to Doha, it is possible you can watch 2 or 3 games in the same day in the World Cup. How cool would that be? So it's going to be an interesting experience, and we are expecting over 1 million people to come into town, and the hotel arrangements seem to be quite good. It's a very small country. The World Cup area is not too big. The farthest distance between 2 venues, Nathaniel, is, like I was telling you when I came for the draw, is about 50 minutes, the farthest distance. So in less than 1 hour, you can get to one end of the World Cup venues to the other. And so these are the things they've been showing us today.
Interesting stuff there. And I really do envy those who will be lodging on the cruise ships. It will be a lot of partying as well, especially if your team wins.
Yeah. And Nathaniel, another thing you should envy is, guess what? Now, Qatar are catering to so many interests, in terms of those who want to come for the World Cup. So those coming from far and near, those with certain amount of budgets, are catering to. And then their neighbors, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and others are going to be coming in large numbers. So what does Qatar do? Qatar is working with its neighbors to fly people in on the day of the match and fly them back on the same day. Can you imagine that? So just imagine Ghana, Togo, and the Ivory Coast, and you'll be flying, say, into Accra for the match in the morning, come and chill, party, attend 2 or 3 matches. Then in the evening, you fly back to your country so that you don't have to spend on accommodation and stuff like that. So these are some of the quite innovative things that they want to do for the World Cup that we are being shown, and in terms of the media as well.
Well, one day when I also buy my private jet, I can just, get myself into that space.
Exactly.
Let's also talk about the people and how ready they are. And how excited they are about their own product, which is what they're selling to the rest of the world. The people, what you've picked up so far from the interactions you've had, on the streets and in the hotels and all of that.
Ghanaians are very used to traveling to places like Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, and Ghanaians will know that the indigenous UAE population, the Emirati population, are not many. It is a lot of immigrants that populate the country. It's the same with Qatar. The indigenous Qatari people are not many. And so the bulk of this melting pot is from, people who have residence permits from places all around the world. So you can find a lot of Ghanaians here, a lot of Egyptians here, a lot of Australians, a lot of British, Americans, and so on and so forth. What that means is that it is not essentially Qatari people who are ready to host the rest of the world. It is the rest of the world who live here who are ready to host the rest of the world. If that makes sense.
In other words,
so there are people
In other words, so, Qatar belongs to all of us.
Exactly. So in the Costa Rica game, you had a lot of people from Costa Rica who live in Qatar who came to watch the game. New Zealand, the same. Australia, the same. Peru, the same. So it's a very interesting demographic here, but people are, largely ready. You can feel the excitement, and as is done in every World Cup, there is an allocation of tickets that is made a bit cheaper for the people. So we were told today in our media briefing that the Qatari allocation will be about 30-70. So 30% of the ticket allocation will be local participation, and then 70% will go to the rest of the world. Now, the cheapest ticket in Qatar for Qatari people, or those who are here, be about 40 reals, which is about, I don't know what. Have you posted 40 reals in dollars again?
40 reals?
Yeah.
US dollars?
Yeah.
Maybe around less than $10.
Less than $10. So the cheapest ticket will be about less than $10. I mean, all the way to about $40. So it's very accessible for the people because the standard of living here is quite high. To you and I, the Ghanaians, it's probably as expensive as maybe Switzerland level for you and I, So Nathaniel, it's a good vibe. It's a good vibe, and people can't wait. We have about July, August, September, October, November to go.
Let's move back to athletics, where the official press conferences have been honored today ahead of this year's edition of the Bislett Games scheduled for Oslo, Norway. Ghana's Benjamin Azamati will race in his favorite 100-meter event alongside Olympic 200-meter champion Andre de Grasse of Canada, who was the runner-up of the Africa Athletics Championships. Akani Simbine would also be involved, as well as a number of fine sprinters at the Wonder Diamond League meeting. Joy Sports George Addo Jr. was at the press conference in Oslo and put together this report.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. Training has started off a little bit slow for me this year. So I had like a little minor injury a couple months ago. So I was working my way back from that. But now I'm feeling pretty good. So these next couple of races in Oslo and Paris, we'll see where my fitness is at to do the double.
So press conferences are over and we're all set for the Bislett Games tomorrow as part of the Wonder Diamond League series. Well, for us, our major concern is about Benjamin Azamati, who has arrived in Oslo, getting himself ready for that important race. He's going up against the 200 meters Olympic champion, Andy de Grasse, who also won bronze at the Olympic Games in 100 meters. He's looking very fired and really wants to go up there and get to do it. A few moments ago at the press conference, he was talking about, even trying to do the double, participating in 200 meters and participating in 100 meters to see how it all really goes from him. We've also seen Akani Simbine, the South African, wonderful finish there with Fred Manyala, who's run the fastest time this year. Clearly hoping to do a lot here. He spoke a lot about his experiences when he started on the circuits like Azamati is doing today, and is hoping that this year would actually be his year. The likes of Reece Prescott of the United Kingdom, of Brown and Ryan of the Australian, they're all out here to try and do what they can do. We've seen athletes across the board in 400 meters, in 800 meters, of course, in the various disciplines getting ready. The organization of the competition itself has just gone as planned. It's all going to happen in a bit of a flash tomorrow, and then we can start making our way to Paris for the next Grand Prix. So let's see how it all goes tomorrow. We'll be here to give you the updates as usual, and right from the very hall where we had this great one, the City Hall here inside Oslo, where we had a press conference, I'd say thank you very much. We're definitely going to come your way with more here. George Addo Jr. from Oslo.
Well, BBC athletics reporter Ade Adedoyin wants Benjamin Azamati to make the most out of the Oslo opportunity ahead of the World Athletics Championship.
It's very, very difficult to make that transition from being a talented youngster to competing on the circuit and doing it regularly. I think even Usain Bolt said this. He was a phenom, Usain Bolt, as a junior athlete. When he made the transition to the senior ranks, it took a few years to get used to it. It's not, remember the World Championships or Commonwealth Games, it's not about a one-off race. It's about going through the rounds. It's about dealing with the pressure, the expectation. You're competing on a higher stage. And it's that kind of experience that you need, I think, to gather before you see the full potential. Clearly, he's very talented. If you're running sub 10, you've got talent and you're good enough to be there. But what you need is the experience of doing it on the circuit, doing it at high level, doing it when you've got Andre de Grasse next to you, or doing it when you've got Akani Simbine on the other side. It was interesting when I spoke to Simbine, he said he was in one race where Justin Gatlin was on one side, Usain Bolt was on the other side, and there's a lot of stress. But the more you do it, the more you compete at that level, the more you get used to it. And that's the same thing as regards your man. Definitely got the talent, but the more he competes at this level and meets like the Diamond League, the more experience he will get. And then when you line up on there, you don't feel like you're glad to be here. You feel like you belong here. And once you develop that kind of mentality, success then comes.
Thank you very much, Ade. We'll speak to you tomorrow.
And so the race takes place on Thursday in Oslo, and we'll be bringing you updates on that here on Prime Sports on the Joy News channel. But we'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we do some more here.